Goddess of Love, take one. Jesus, that sounds terrifying. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, or otherwise strange content. It is early and there is not enough coffee. So I was watching an old Lindsay Ellis video from a few years ago, one of her loose cannon videos, the one where she's talking about Aphrodite and how that goddess was depicted in, history all throughout the years. She touched on a movie called Goddess of Love from 1988.
Her world is a world of passion. No man can resist her. She comes from another time and place. She's Vanna White, and someday she's the goddess of love.
It was a TV movie that starred Vanna White as Venus, the god of love. And so I thought, hey, it's almost Valentine's Day. What a perfect time to do a deep dive into this incredibly egregious movie. No hate to Vanna White. She's surely a lovely person. It's just this movie is a lot. And this movie was actually based on a much older movie from the 1940s called A Touch of Venus, which I think I also want to do a deep dive into, so let me know if that interests you guys, because I'm really curious about that. I haven't seen that one yet, but today we're talking about Goddess of Love. And oh my god, it is a thing to behold.
God of the sun, patron of truth. The charges.
First of all, can I just say, what's going on with this lighting? Why is everything yellow? I love yellow, but I can't see.
Aphrodite.
With apologies, dear Father Zeus, you know I prefer to be called Venus.
I love all of these little moments where they really want you to know, as writers of this movie, that they know about Greek and Roman mythology. They want you to know that they did research.
You were given in wedlock to Hephaestus, the blacksmith god, but you rejected this union.
Hephaestus was not my choice.
Right, so right at the beginning of this movie, Zeus, who is Venus's dad, he's like, hey, I tried to force you to marry somebody that you didn't like, and then you didn't do it.
You sought and received the affections of 3 mortals, all of whom perished.
And then he's like, and you killed 3 guys. Well, actually, that second one, that's bad. Killing people is bad. Don't do that second one. I'm on her side for the first one. He gets all these people riled up.
It started the Trojan War. Such misery.
Silence!
Such misery.
But it is quite clear that you still have no idea of the meaning of love. Banishment.
And then he banishes her, which she seems mildly inconvenienced about.
My father.
She's like, aw, damn it, banishment. And if you're thinking that maybe she's going to be banished in the way that Thor got banished in the first Thor movie, where he just kind of got to hang out in New Mexico with Natalie Portman for a little while, it's not that. Nope, she just gets turned into a statue. And she stays like that for 3,000 years. Harsh.
Will she never return from this exile?
She will return when she has won the heart of a man.
It's gonna be kind of hard to do if she's a statue, sir.
And prove that she can keep his love without killing him.
Very concerning stipulation. Surely manageable, though, right?
The Romans called her Venus. The Greeks called her Aphrodite. No picture taking, please.
She really held off on telling them not to take pictures, didn't she? She waited until about 50 pictures had been taken to be like, whoa, 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 we don't allow that here.
It's impossible to put a price on her. Suffice it to say, she's undoubtedly the most expensive lady in town.
How come the Greeks and Romans used the same gods?
Well, let's remember it was closer to the beginning of time, so there might not have been enough people for 2 sets of gods.
Is that what they're paying you to teach people at this museum? But then these 2 people show up. They are here to steal the Venus statue and sell it for a lot of money. And I love that they decided to do this by sneaking in disguised as grandmothers. Just the coordinated, lookout to make sure nobody's behind them and then taking the wigs off at the same time. Boy's got some style.
15 minutes and 40 seconds to finish step 1.
Get your own watch. And you might be wondering, like, how is this gonna work? Like, how are they gonna keep people from noticing that they're just wheeling the statue out of the building? Like, clearly there's security, like, there seems to be some flaws in this plan. Well, too bad. They didn't think we needed to see that. They decided to cut over to this hair salon where one of the main characters is working, cutting his friend's hair, as it were.
My hand to God, this is the last favor I'll ever ask you for.
No more last favors, especially not this one.
And his friend is trying to guilt trip him into cheating on his fiancée.
What's the big deal? Kathy's in San Francisco. I don't want to be the kind of guy who waves old obligations in a friend's face.
But
And what about the twins?
the twins, you have the nerve to mention the twins again?
God, what about the twins? Do we get no more explanation?
You know, it took me 6 months to lay the groundwork with Brenda. If I don't come up with a date for Debbie.
Right, so he wants him to sneak around behind his fiance's back while she's out of town so that he can impress a different girl. And Ted, the other guy, the main character, we're supposed to feel sympathetic towards him, like, oh, he's a good guy, he doesn't want to do it, but, like...
One more page, and we're even.
He doesn't really put his foot down, either. Meanwhile, these two dudes just wheel the statue out. Very loudly, in full-on, head-to-toe black, which is funny because, like, aren't robbers, don't they usually wear that because, like, they're trying to blend in at night? They're in a big-ass lit marble museum. They stick out like nothing I've ever seen. And then that night, Ted has allowed his friend to take him to this club where they're supposed to meet these girls, and he's like, but I don't want to cheat on my fiancé. It's like, well, Ted, you chose to come here. You didn't have to come. You aren't being held against your will. You don't get credit for this, Ted.
Hi, Teddy.
And another trend in this movie is that every girl is, like, really creepy with Ted. It's really uncomfortable. So Ted leaves his friends who are all there for his bachelor party that he swears he doesn't want.
Our guest of honor has flown his last mission over this battlefield.
Yeah, it's funny because every guy hates marriage. I'm not sure where that trope started, but it's super lame. And then the security guard takes a very long time to notice that the central piece of the display is missing. He walks all the way around the room before he realizes that the giant stone statue in the center is not present. The police are called, but it's too late. The robbers have already escaped. Ted calls his fiancée, who's on a business conference.
How can you have fun with 400 other psychologists? If you say good morning, they try to figure out what you really mean.
I love how she's hating on psychologists, but, like, she's also a psychologist if she's there on business. It's a conference.
Somehow I managed to walk into my own bachelor party.
Leave it to Jimmy. I didn't even know people did things like that anymore.
Why is she acting like a bachelor party is a foreign, outdated concept? I'm pretty sure they never went away.
Can I get you anything?
And then Ted gets harassed some more.
I picked up your grandmother's ring from the jeweler's.
He tells her that he's picked up her grandmother's ring from the jeweler's. It's the ring that they're gonna get married with. He body shames her grandmother.
I think they took out 2 inches of gold to bring it down to a size 6. How big was Granny?
We were always supposed to call her big boned.
They flirt, even though they're really bad at it.
I can't wait till Saturday to slip it on your finger.
My finger can't wait either.
And then he kisses a public payphone.
See you tomorrow night.
Gross. And of course, the robbers that stole Venus are hiding her in the garden behind this disco that they're at because there are other statues there and they think it'll just go unnoticed.
This is the perfect spot to stash it. All these dummies look alike.
Okay, it's a plan. I've heard of worse plans, I guess. And then Ted goes out there because he's tired of Jimmy trying to set him up with other girls.
Do you remember what it was like, spending a night with him in that cave?
Again, they keep throwing out references to stories that I have more questions than answers. I need to know more. You can't just let that hang in the air. And then because telling Jimmy about what marriage is apparently he's not getting the picture. So he demonstrates by taking his fiance's grandmother's ring and slipping it on Venus's finger.
Wedding ring, finger.
And then voila.
Married.
They're magically married.
It is the moment of destiny for our daughter Venus.
I like how Zeus and Hera have not moved or changed clothes in 3,000 years. I guess it's a god thing I wouldn't understand. So Jimmy's like, fine, I'll leave you alone. You clearly don't want to be here. And then Ted's like, wait, I still want to drink with the guys. And so he goes to take the ring back and runs off. But of course, now it won't come off her finger.
I don't believe this. I'm gonna get the manager.
And so Venus wakes up all by herself in this random disco garden. Disco Garden would be a great name for a band.
Could this be Mount Olympus?
No, my daughter.
Father!
Papa!
You must prove that you fully understand the nature of love.
So Zeus tells her, hey, you've got one shot to prove that you know what this whole love thing is about. And if you fail, I'm going to turn you back into stone and your ass is going to stay like that forever. Ted's upset because now the statue has literally walked off with his fiance's ring.
I don't care about the statue. But that ring's been in my fiance's family for years.
This really does feel like Ted's responsibility, though. He goes to the police that don't really help him out, and then he goes to take his friend home.
What cosmic urge possessed you to tell Rusty and Dusty you were getting married?
And his friend is still salty. Like, you ruined my date because you wouldn't mess around with another girl who isn't your fiance. Like, dude, get a better friend. So then Venus's spirit just kind of floats right in front of his car, like the she of magical Irish folklore. And they almost crash, but then don't. And then Ted goes home by himself, and Venus is there.
I am Venus, daughter of Zeus. 3,000 years I have lain entranced in slumber.
I'll get Jimmy for this.
He thinks it's a prank, but she's like, yo, dude, we're married now.
You are mine, and I am yours.
Hope you're cool with that. And then she proves to him that she's the goddess of love by almost killing him.
You don't even know Jimmy, do you?
And he's given the opportunity to be like, hey, no can do, I'm already marrying somebody else.
You love another.
Oh, no.
And then he lies about it for some reason. I don't know why.
If so, I shall crush her.
Crush her?
Crush her?
Crush her.
Oh. Eee.
Oh.
Yeah, Ted, you might want to back away slowly from the crazy lightning lady.
Mount Olympus? I don't know about that. You're a mountain girl. I'm a city boy. I get nosebleeds.
You speak words, but they are confusing.
That soundbite could be used in so many different contexts. It's lovely.
Great perfume.
I don't understand.
Perfume, it's something you put on to smell good.
I put nothing on to smell good.
You smell this good naturally?
I think they're supposed to be attracted to each other, but it's just... whew. It's rough, man.
All I want's a little time to adjust.
So he leads her on and tells her that he just needs a little bit more time before he can go back to Mount Olympus with her. So she's just like, okay, and then just like turns back into stone. You would think she'd be kind of tired of that after 3,000 years. He spends all night trying to pry the ring off her finger, but no luck. What would have happened if he like broke her finger off when she was in statue form? Would she wake up with like 9 fingers only? That would be an awkward conversation. The detective comes to his house to talk about his stolen ring, and he realizes that he's got this stolen, expensive statue in his living room.
I'm waiting.
He realizes that he's got a girl over, so he skedaddles out of there.
I always heard that you hair guys did all right.
Yeah, most of this movie is just like guys being broy and talking about girls, which is super annoying. And then he tells Venus that his fiancée is his sister.
You do love another. Then I must crush her.
My sister. Kathy's my sister. It's her ring.
Venus, no crushing.
You will be my own special god.
So much of this dialogue is creepy. I hate it. So he decides to take her to see him at his job, where he works cutting hair, to try to, like, convince her that she doesn't want to marry him.
I can hear Zeus now. Neptune, I'd like you to meet my son-in-law, the hairstylist.
What? He teaches her what a seatbelt is.
Thank you, mortal.
What is this trope of, like, gods always just referring to all humans as mortals? I know they see us as beneath them because they're gods, but, like, I name spoons when I'm using them to stir my coffee. You'd think they'd want to call them something. The robbers go back trying to find the statue because she's not there anymore, and they hear about Ted, so now they're tracking him down. Back in the car, Ted goes to turn on some music, and this exchange happens.
How about some music?
Aw, you would sing for me.
Not me. My radio.
Anyway, he turns on this very 80s song.
When you touch me, girl, it's like a dream.
And she starts kind of like awkwardly bobbing around. Says me, who awkwardly always bobs around to music. And he's just like, wow, she do be pretty though. He takes her to the hair salon where she turns into a statue, and he disguises her with like a leather jacket and a hat. And then she trips little Richard for calling her ugly.
I certainly hope you didn't pay too much for this.
Don't you dare trip little Richard. Oh, and then Ted gets sexually harassed by his client, and then Venus goes all victim blaming on him.
You were promised to me. That woman was caressing you.
Not cool. All around just not cool. One of the robbers goes to see Ted, saying that he just needs a haircut so that he can scope out where the statue is.
Zeus will be delighted. And when we go home and you meet Zeus, bring your windmaker with you.
It will knock his sandals off.
The one-liners in this movie are just mwah, garbage. So Ted ditches Venus to go pick up his fiance at the airport.
It's gone. Sooner or later, he's gonna trip.
It's our statue. We stole it.
Because possession is 9/10 of the law.
It fell down the sink. And you know plumbers, he won't be here till Tuesday.
So Ted's premeditating the lie that he's gonna tell her. Ted's really got a problem with lying. I already feel like Kathy could do better.
Ted, I'm dying to see the ring.
I don't have it. I mean, I don't have it with me. Of course I have it.
But he picks up Kathy, lies to her. She seems fine, and then realizes that Venus has followed him there. And so he freaks out and gets Kathy to a cab before Venus can murder her.
I've only known you for a year, but it's like we've been together for a lifetime. I feel like we're brother and sister.
Oh, that was the wrong thing to say for so many different reasons, Ted. He drives Venus home, who's very pissed off. She's so mad, actually, she's talking about herself in the third person.
So naturally, you left Venus flatly in your heads-up salon.
Hey!
I mean, you're not supposed to take somebody's mirror like that while they're driving, but why did he have to swerve like that? You don't lose control of the car if you can't see in the rear mirror for like 2 seconds.
Do the gods have a word for nag?
The gods have a word for everything. And I will teach your tongue to savor all of them.
I just hate it. I hate it. He awkwardly flirts with Kathy on the phone some more, and then does Venus's makeup.
You are truly an artist.
And she looks exactly the same as she did before, but she's happy about it.
You have the bone structure.
Everybody in this movie talks about everybody else in this movie as if they're a serial killer. It's so creepy. Jimmy comes over to apologize and then starts hitting on Venus.
You're some kind of gorgeous.
He tries to explain everything to Jimmy, which just makes him sound like a crazy person.
That's her. Venus, the goddess of love. Somehow that ring made her come to life.
But by then, Venus has already turned herself back into a statue for the night.
You hit the mailbox.
Hey, careful with the mailbox. And then the two robbers kidnap Ted in a very strange way.
But I don't seem to see a 142 on this block.
142, huh? Let's see, the Coopers are 156, and...
I mean, you shouldn't kidnap anybody in any way. That's always wrong, but Why does he have this cover about asking for directions and then just kind of taps him on the shoulder like, ah ha ha, I have a gun.
Get in. I know you. I never forget a head.
Okay. He's not very good with names, but he remembers the head like nothing else. And then they make Ted put a sock in his mouth, which he does in a very weird way. Meanwhile, Venus gets up and decides that she wants to change herself for a guy.
Very well. If this is what pleases him.
Very healthy. They ask him where the statue is, and he tells them that it's in his house, but they have to come and get it at night, which they're very obliging towards.
She's in my house, but I have very nosy neighbors.
Do it tonight. Late. When your neighbors' noses are in their pillows.
I don't know why they had to take him to this creepy warehouse just to have this conversation. They let him go afterwards. But Venus uses her magic to hotwire Ted's car and go on a cliche shopping spree. She's very proud of herself. Ah, what a genuinely terrible song. Ted gets back to work and doesn't feel the need to tell anybody that he was late because he was literally kidnapped, so he just takes the blame for not being at work on time. If I could actually say a sentence correctly.
Please sit down and wait a moment.
And his coworker, he's very stressed out. But then after getting harassed for like a fourth time, he just leaves his friend with all of his work anyway and runs off to deal with his own shit.
This is yours. And guess what? The nice woman in the store said that all of your plastic is over the limit.
Oh, great. That's great. So his fiancée Kathy shows up to take him to lunch, so he shoves Venus into a sink to get her hair washed and leaves it there.
I stopped by Aunt Julia's house this morning and everything is set up for the wedding.
So they're just randomly getting married the next day, which is weird because, like, it's apparently this big, like, fancy wedding. They're not just, like, getting married on their own, but there's no, like, rehearsal dinner. There's no, like, anything leading up to the wedding. It's very strange.
Well, tomorrow afternoon the ring will be on my finger and it will be all over.
The ring.
Oh yeah, and Ted doesn't have the ring yet, so that's a problem. Meanwhile, Venus has literally more curlers in her hair than I thought was humanly possible.
Oh my God!
You've made me look like Hades!
And she doesn't like how her hair is turning out, so she yells at poor little Richard and then burns down the salon.
Your emergency washing set. Suddenly she said something about Zeus and Kaflooey. The whole place went up.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
She just floated out of here and got into your car. And she shot through the parking lot backwards.
Wait a minute, so she can fly, but she still jacked his car again? Why? So she's drinking off the trauma of almost killing a bunch of people at a bar.
My father Zeus will say I failed at love again, and he will turn me to stone.
Jimmy comes over to Ted's house, and I don't know what exactly is going on in this shot. I don't know if it's light reflection on the window behind them or what, but it looks like they tried to tarp the front door, like to make it look dark out like it was nighttime. But you can clearly see on the side that it's daytime, so I don't know if that's just like a weird reflection or if they just fucked up somehow. I don't know. I don't know what happened. It just looks really weird because it looks like it's two different times of day simultaneously.
Here's a picture of Kathy's ring. Find a jeweler, any jeweler, who can make a cheap copy by tomorrow just to get me through the ceremony. I'll worry about getting the real ring after I'm married.
So he tells Jimmy to make a cheap knockoff of his fiance's ring to get married with, and then he'll just switch it later. Ted is absolutely the worst.
Just promise me you'll carry your driver's license from now on. You're not from LA, are you?
Hardly.
And no more drinky winkies when you're going to drive.
So the cops just let Venus off the hook for totally driving drunk because she's pretty, I guess. It's kind of like before. She's just like holding up traffic and this guy is like mad at her and then she just turns back and smiles at him and he's like, oh, it's okay. Like, she's driving drunk without a license. How is she not in jail?
You left me in that terrible place of pain and humiliation.
See what your Alfonso did to me?
Yeah, you look awful.
My charms are more dazzling than any you can imagine.
I'm convinced. I think you're a major dish.
Get out of here, Jimmy. Nobody asked you.
Even like this. Want a taco?
She looks literally the same as when this whole movie started. There's no difference.
Those two choir boys saw a blonde come in. They better see a blonde go out.
So Ted, wanting the robbers to steal Venus from him, knowing that she's alive, so basically kidnapping her. He knows that they're waiting watching his house and that they saw this blonde girl come in, so what does he do? He dresses up Jimmy in a weird wig and sends him out as if that's gonna fool anybody. And then it works.
Poor Zeus. Venus was a hellraiser.
Also, Jimmy's reading a bunch of exposition that we've already heard at the beginning of this movie from a very convenient book of mythology that Ted has right there. Like, what is this? What is happening right now? Oh, and then when they sneak in and try to kidnap Venus out of self-defense, she burns Ted's house down too, which I think he kind of had coming to him at this point. She really gives new meaning to that whole I'm your Venus, I'm your fire thing.
There's a reward for a stolen statue, and that guy got into his house.
So why don't we let him go inside and take a look?
Just that it's such a waste of time.
The cops show up. They ask to see inside the house because they think Ted has the statue. He's very sketchy about it. They go inside.
There it is. Bingo!
And Venus is a whole person again.
This is...
Vera? I am Vera, Ted's friend.
And for some reason, she decides to put on a southern accent to give an alibi.
I was splishing and splashing in the hot tub. Then I heard the voices of two strange mortals inside the house.
Okay. But they arrest the two robbers, so that's good. And then Ted cheats on his fiancée anyway. Good going, Ted.
Hello? Kathy, hi.
Like, it's literally your wedding day, Ted. You suck so bad.
Whatever you do, don't leave the house. There's plenty of food in the fridge.
I am not here for your cold roast chicken. I am here for your love.
That's a new dating profile bio. God, help me.
You're worried about this afternoon, don't be. Aunt Julia's making a beautiful wedding. Our house looks fabulous.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they're dealing with this, like, fire on the day of their wedding. Like, when is their wedding? Don't they have things to do today?
Is it going to be bachelor number 1, bachelor number 2, or bachelor number 3?
It's going to be bachelor number 3.
Number 3.
Stephanie has chosen a wimp.
Yeah, they always choose the wrong guy in the dating game. Do you think they wanted to make a reference to Wheel of Fortune, but, like, couldn't for some reason? Because they make a reference to, like, Jeopardy and the dating game, but never Wheel of Fortune.
I've seen enough to put you in a certain amount of jeopardy.
And it was right there. His coworker comes by the house because he can't remember where the wedding is supposed to take place.
You!
And of course he's terrified of Venus because she almost killed him yesterday. Meanwhile, Ted's just hoping he can get married and deal with the repercussions of that with Venus later.
Where's your out-of-town visitor this afternoon?
Home.
She's under your skin, isn't she?
They both are.
Well, you know what, Ted? You should have just been straight up from the beginning. I don't feel bad for you, Ted.
I do.
Do you have the ring?
And everything in the wedding is going well until...
Were you speaking of this ring?
Venus does the whole wedding crasher thing. And then it gets very awkward. The cops pull up right as this very weird conversation is happening in the back room of this venue between Ted and his fiancée and his accidental wife.
Just tell me what last night meant to you.
Last night?
I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Poor Kathy. She seems like she's not really putting two and two together right now.
By his own acts, Ted has given himself to me.
Given himself?
Yeah, Kathy, he's not worth it. You can do better.
He does not love you. Away. You are history.
You do love me, don't you, Ted? Ted?
I think you better go.
He won't even say he loves her. What the hell?
I shall invoke a speedy and terrible destruction.
So she goes to kill both of them, and then realizes that she can't.
I cannot do it.
And then because of that, she's like, oh, I know what love is now.
I love you too much. Just as you love each other.
It's not killing somebody when you can.
There was no last night.
And then I guess she, like, Jedi mind tricks Kathy, because there's no other way that would work, right? Like, just being like, hey, I cheated on you. Actually, just kidding. And then she just believes it. So now Kathy is lied to and doesn't have the full information going into her wedding. Great. The cops burst in.
What happened in here?
Just two people in love.
That's not a valid explanation, Ted. So Venus just disappears, but Ted still knows where to direct the police to go and get her. I'm not fully clear on that.
By the way, I think I know where you'll find that missing Venus.
And then he and Kathy just get married like nothing happened.
Oh, my husband Zeus, our daughter Venus fared well.
Did she?
She recognized true love and allowed it to go its own way.
Does that count? And the movie ends with her magically getting the bouquet and Zeus saying that he'll probably give her another chance. I guess hinting at a sequel that, thank God, they never made.
I shall consider giving her a second opportunity. Perhaps when the warm season ends.
And that's it. That's the end. Wow. The movie's only an hour and a half long. It feels like a year and a half. It's one of those movies that's just like, it's so bad. Like, I don't care about anybody or what happens to any of them. But it is very silly, and I thought it would be the appropriate time of year to kind of do a deep dive into it. I do want to do a touch of Venus as well. I want to do a deep dive into that, which was also mentioned in Lindsay Ellis's video. So let me know if you guys want to see that, because I'm really interested. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I don't really have anything else to say. I've been recording for a long time, and I'm just going to wrap it up here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Everything you do to support this channel means everything to me. You guys are super awesome. I just can't believe the support that this channel gets, so thank you. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around because I post nonsense all the time. And remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber if you say so, because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Bye.